Life in the West, the Californios. If Lewis and Clark had turned south from Oregon after reaching the Pacific, they would have found Spain's best-kept secret, a sun-drenched land called California, the California Missions. In 1769, a Spanish missionary named Junipero Serra led soldiers and priests north from Mexico to California. Serra's goal was to convert the California Indians to Christianity. To do this, he established a chain of missions that eventually stretched from San Diego to just north of San Francisco. Each mission controlled a huge area of land as well as the Indians who worked it. Although the missionaries meant well, the missions were deadly to native Californians. Indians were sometimes treated harshly, and thousands died of diseases brought to California by the newcomers. Settlers followed the missionaries to California. "We were the pioneers of the Pacific coast," wrote Guadalupe Vallejo, building pueblos, towns, and missions while George Washington was carrying on the War of the Revolution. To reward soldiers and attract settlers, the Spanish began the practice of making large grants of land. When Mexico won its independence in 1821, California came under Mexican rule. In 1833, the Mexican government closed the missions. Half of the missions' land was supposed to go to Indians. Mexico, however, established its own system of land grants in the Southwest and gave most of California's mission lands to soldiers and settlers. The typical Spanish-speaking Californian, or Californio, was granted a rancho of 50,000 acres or more. Life on the ranchos. Life on the ranchos combined hard work and the occasional fiesta or social gathering. Most families lived in simple adobe houses with dirt floors. The Californios produced almost everything they needed at home. Indian servants did much of the work. The ranchos were so huge that neighbors lived at least a day's journey apart. As a result, strangers were always welcome for the news they brought of the outside world. During weddings and fiestas, Californios celebrated with singing, dancing, and brilliant displays of horsemanship. In the 1830s, cattle ranching became California's most important industry. Cattle provided hides and tallow, beef fat, that could be traded for important goods brought by ship. Among the goods that an American sailor named Richard Henry Dana carried to California in his trading ship were teas, coffee, sugars, spices, raisins, molasses, hardware, dishes, tinware, cutlery, clothing, jewelry, and furniture. Because California was so far from the capital in Mexico City, the Mexican government neglected the territory. Soldiers were not paid, and they took what they needed to survive from the people they were supposed to protect. Officials sent to govern California were often unskilled and sometimes dishonest. The Californios' legacy. In 1846, the United States captured California as part of the war with Mexico. Before long, Californios were a minority in California. Still, the Californios left a lasting mark. California is full of Spanish place names such as San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. The Californios also introduced many of California's famous crops such as grapes, olives, and citrus fruits. Most of all, they opened California to the world, and the world soon rushed in.